Hello everyone and welcome to another World of Warcraft guide video. In today's video, I will be showing you the steps on how to unlock the new secret mount, Incognito, the Indecipherable Felcycle, which was added in patch 11.0.5. Before you can begin this secret, you will need to complete a few prerequisites. The first thing you will need is a toy earned from either the Dragonflight Secrets of Azeroth event or the current 20th anniversary event. You will need the Torch of Pyreth. You also should have the Idol of Anara toy, as well as the Tricked Out Thinking Cap. Both toys are not required to complete the secret, but it will help if you're following along on how things were discovered. The second thing you will need is the Detective title earned by completing the achievement Azeroth's Greatest Detective. If you have done the 20th anniversary event, you probably already have this title, but in the event you do not, you will need to go get that title first. If you are watching this after the event is over, it is still possible to get this achievement, but only by finding all 11 hidden celebration crates. Blizzard has stated they will be moving the turn-in for these quests to Dornogal after the anniversary ends. There are some other requirements that need to be met as well for specific steps, which I will go over as we get to them. For this secret, I will be explaining both the steps and how they were solved as well. To make it easier for those who only want the steps on how to earn this mount, I will be adding timestamps to the video. The first thing you will need to get is the Inert Peculiar Key. If you want to know how this key was found, head over to Borean Tundra to the coordinates 8533. If not, skip ahead to the next part for the key location. Once you reach Borean Tundra, there will be a small lake near the Secrets of Azeroth quest from Rexxar called The Trail's Gone Cold. At this lake, you will find many distracting wisps floating there. These wisps will react to your Idol of Anara, indicating it is relevant to the secret. When you fish in this lake, you will loot many gray items such as a gnome effigy or an old chain link. These items as well as the wisp are a very clear reference to The Legend of Zelda. Finally, if you fly above the wisps, you will notice they are laid out in a specific pattern, almost like a constellation. That's because it is a constellation, the Crater Constellation to be exact. So we know it's referencing Legend of Zelda, and there's a crater constellation. What could this mean? Back in classic WoW, there was a quest giver in Ungoro Crater called Lincoln, which was a direct reference to Legend of Zelda. This is where we will be heading, to the exact spot he gave the quest out. Head to Ungoro Crater to the coordinates 44-8. Inside the tree stump, you will reveal the Inert Peculiar Key when you use your Torch of Pyreth. I found the quickest way was to take the Oldham Portal in Orgrimmar, or Stormwind, and then fly north. Once you receive the key, you can read on the tooltip that it needs a gem. It appears to be battered and old. At this point, we will need to head to Dornogal and look for a Dalaran survivor. She is located at 5428 in Dornogal. When you speak to her, she says she has witnessed a crime. If you ask her to tell you about it, she says she would rather speak to a detective. This is where the title becomes handy. Put on your detective title, and she will populate a quest called Rat's Race. When you read the carefully penned note, you are told the game is afoot, and that the fairy ring has gone rotten. This is referencing a cave in Azj-Kahet, with a group of fungi-like creatures in a circle formation. Head to Azj-Kahet to the following cave coordinates 6893. Inside the cave, to the left you will find the Rockglow settlers circling a note. When you loot the unfinished note, it tells you the coordinates -18696. These are not map coordinates but based on the Thinking Cap toy. Put the toy on where you will find the note and follow the output at the top to -18696, which is just outside the outskirts of the City of Threads. But don't be fooled, it's not in the city itself, but rather high up above on top of a rock. For those that don't want to do the Thinking Cap, just head to the following coordinates, 3120. When you loot the hastily scrawled note, it tells you Halafal, Azj-Kahet. What are you waiting for? This is telling you it's an area where both Halafal and Azj-Kahet meet. Fly towards Halafal toward the lights readout flight path. Be careful to dodge the traps on the way, as they will dismount you. As you get towards Halafal, make a turn around and follow the wall around toward Azj-Kahet until you find an open cave with water. The location is 4985 on the Halafal map, not the Azj-Kahet one. Swim down the bottom of the pond and loot the next note. This note says if you can find her, we can talk. She mentions a dark rabbit hole. In Ashkahet, there is a secret hole you can fall into to earn the achievement No Harm Ever Came from Reading a Book. Head to Farron's Advance and enter the open cave at 5519. When you enter the cave, head right until you get to the back. You will see a couple of platforms with smaller holes at the top. You need to jump up on both platforms and jump down the middle hole. Here you will find rats, and she will hearthstone away. On the ground, there is a quest and you can loot the peculiar gem. Combine this with the Inert key to form a peculiar key. Reading the tooltip tells you the following: a battered, trampled old key, haunted with residual dark magic. The letters DR have been crossed out. Back in Legion, there was an artifact scenario for a few classes like Balance Druid as an example, called the Dark Riders. It sent you to the Catacombs below Karazhan, where residual dark magic definitely rests. We now know we need to go to Karazhan. The fastest way here is either with the Karazhan teleport ring, or hearthstone to Dalaran, and take the middle platform in the Chamber of the Guardian down to the Karazhan portal, which is on the right. When you get to Karazhan, you won't be going in the raid or the dungeon, but making your way down the path toward the entrance of the Catacombs. Don't confuse this with the Forgotten Crypts though, that's a completely different area. In order to enter, we not only need the key that we collected, but also our Torch of Pyrath out, which will spawn a portal to enter. When you enter, there will be an overwhelmingly amount of things to find, which you can feel free to explore yourself, but I will explain what is relevant as we go. When you get to the back of the Catacombs, you will see the mount that we are after, along with 12 pillars in the formation of a clock. We will be solving these steps one pillar at a time. However, we only will be solving 9 pillars for the mount. Completing each pillar will grant you an orb, indicating that you had finished the step. With that said, let's move on to orb number 1. When you enter the southeast room down the stairs, which I like to call the red button room, you will notice notes laying around the room. The note we are interested in is the lovingly handcrafted clue. It reads a bunch of gibberish that we need to figure out. To solve this, check the note next to this called Untitled Journal. This journal mentions disorder, which our note relates to. Further to the left is a rat's journal, page 93. She mentions how puzzles can be tough, technically incomplete, or unsolvable. This is basically telling you that the lovingly handcrafted clue is in disorder and not solvable. Rats is cheating, so to speak. In order to solve this, we need to anagram the handcrafted clue, but it is missing a word. That word is staring you right in your face. It says on the right to find rats. So all we need to do is add rats to the anagram. Using an anagram solving website, you can input the letters and rats to form the following sentence. Olgra seeks the light in mind, body, and soul. This is Mancrick's wife, and we need to locate Olgra in life, and death, and her soul. Head to the Northern Barrens where Olgra's body rests at the following coordinates, 5440. Take out your Torch of Pyrath and wait until you receive a 3-hour buff called the Light of Their Love. Next, head to Nagarand, the Draenor version, to where you can find Olgra when she was alive with Mancrick. She can be found at the following coordinates, 7437. When you reach her, use the torch again to get your second stack of the buff. Horde players have an alternate location they can go to if they have completed the quest line, which is located at 4947. But the 7437 location will be relevant for both Alliance and Horde. For the final location, we will need to locate her soul, and she resides in Maldraxxus. The quickest way to Maldraxxus is to take the Timeway portal in Dornogal to Ardenweald and fly. If you are affected by the Threads of Fate Shadowlands bug and cannot open up flight paths from Oribos, this is also the way you will need to go. The Timeway portal is located in Dornogal at 5338. Note, this method requires level 80. Once you arrive in Maldraxxus, you need to head to the coordinates 2661 to get your third and final buff. This will complete orb number 1. By the way, if you are having problems getting your stacks, click off the torch buff, log out and log back in, then reactivate the toy near Olgra. This should fix the issue. After you've gotten 3 stacks of the Light of Their Love buff, you will reveal a hidden passage on the crumpled notes. Without the buff, you only get the following: when gods of mantids pierce the veil, but with the buff, you now get the rest of the message, which says, stand high above the glowing tail, and pray with gifts of gods, and build that they may claim your puppy too. This note is referencing the Veil of Eternal Blossoms in Pandaria. The glowing tail is at the top of Mogashun Palace. When you go behind it, you will notice a Nyalotha obelisk. Head to the Veil of Eternal Blossoms in Pandaria. To complete this step, make sure you are in the current timeline, not the past. At the very top of Mogashun Palace behind is a Nyalotha obelisk. It is important to note that you can actually complete this step without doing any of the following. If someone near you does it, you will just loot the item. In the event that no one is there, here's what you need to do. You need to summon your perky pug. If you do not have a perky pug, you need to do the LFG and group with 100 random players to earn it. Most players should have this by default just by playing the game. You can choose to dress your perky pug up in the Dog Saran costume, which is purchased for 25,000 gold from the Wandering Merchant that you should have met in Asuna doing the celebration crates. However, there's a much easier method that requires no purchase at all. Simply use one of the following items with your perky pug out: the Twitching Eyeball toy, which is earned from a quest reward; the All-Seeing Eyes toy, an item earned from combining 2 drops from rare spawns; or transmogging the gift of N'Zoth head appearance. The easiest is the Twitching Eyeball toy. Use this along with summoning your perky pug, then target the Nyalotha obelisk and / pray to it and receive the Key of Shadows. This will complete orb number 2. Head back to Karazhan with your newly acquired Key of Shadows. This will allow you to access 2 new rooms. For this orb, we will be collecting 9 pieces of hate. Enter the left room first and fish in the Astral Soup Bowl to loot the Astral Key. Use the Astral Key on the Astral Chest to loot a new toy called the Starry-Eyed Goggles. Equipping the goggles will reveal new consoles around the Catacombs. Just know that I can't show you here that I loot it because I've already obtained it on my main character, and I'm only redoing this for the video itself. The first console is in the same room you loot the Astral Key from. Next to the console, it says Property of Elder Konani. If you go and talk to Elder Konani in Dragonblight at the coordinates 4874, he tells you the following: it has been a long time since I have needed such a code. I remember it being some famous sequence of dance steps or something. This is a reference to the Konami code, which was used to cheat in games such as Contra. Before you enter numbers on these consoles, if you are having trouble getting the number sequence to appear on your bars because of add-ons like Bartender or LVUI, the sequence bar appears in your journal when you start the console. It is listed as number sequences. You can also drag them to your bars if you want to do that as well. If you're a Bartender user, enable Class Bar 4 to get it to permanently show when you use the device. On the console, enter the following numbers, which is representative of the Konami code: up, up, down, down, left, right, or in the number form, 88224646, and loot your first piece of hate. The rest of the consoles can only be seen with the goggles on. The second console is in the red button room. Above the console is a note that says "Here." This one is literally saying where we are right now, which is the Karazhan Catacombs. The zone ID on Wowhead for the Karazhan Catacombs is 10638. Enter this code to receive your second piece of hate. The third console is in the hallway just outside the red button room. Next to the chest, you have another letter above that says "Here." This one is much more simple. It's the coordinates of where the note "Here" is located, which is 5661. Enter the code 5661 to get your third piece of hate. The fourth console is in front of the Rage statue at the bottom of the spiraling stairs. The sign above the chest tells you, "No violence, please." When you think of no violence in a literal sense, you think of removing your weapons. Unequip your weapons, which reveals a question mark. How else can we show no violence? Well, there is actually a console command in WoW to do this. Enter the following console command on your screen: /console, violenceLevel 0, to reveal an image of Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker. The code for this is the object ID itself. Enter the object ID for Thunder Fury, which is 19019, to loot your 4th piece of hate. The 5th console is Rubinstein's safe. You will notice next to the safe there is a dead skeleton with a dagger, and his eyes are in the wrong sockets. This is a reference to Rubinstein's revenge. The solution here is meant to be found on a wiki page. On the wiki, you will see that Rubinstein's revenge is a shape distortion of the 3-ball sight swap 52233. Coincidentally, this is also the NPC ID of Lincoln. The creator of this secret, Josh, stated that this was a complete coincidence, but ironically, that method fits this console as well. Enter the code from Rubinstein's Revenge wiki page, 52233, to loot your 5th piece of hate. The 6th console is just around the right corner at a dead end. Next to the console, you can see a handwritten note that says the following: Spring Shells on a Log, Newman's Landing, Master Nguyen, Snaggle, and Rels. This is just a number association puzzle. If you head to the Dalaran plains behind where the world boss Strunrun spawns, are some spring shells on a log. There are 5 total spring shells there. This is our first number. In Wrath patch 3.0.2, an NPC was added at Newman's Landing called High Admiral Shelley Jorick. Killing him would grant 1 rep for the Bloodsteel Buccaneers. This is our second number. If you look up Master Nguyen on Wowhead, he is listed as the 5 Sorcerers. 5 is our third number. Looking up Snaggle on Wowhead lists the NPC Snaggle 6 Trigger. 6 will be our 4th number. And finally, Rails is a reference to the Blackrock Depths encounter, the 7, which featured 7 bosses with their names ending in REL. 7 is our last number. Putting these numbers together, you get 5, 1, 5, 6, 7. Enter this number to loot your 6th piece of hate. For the 7th console, you will see endless consoles with the title Feeling Lucky Slot Machine. If you enter the number 7 5 times on the slot machine, it will give you a magnifying glass, but no coin. This is a clue there is something more to this. How can we get more lucky in this game? You will need to go out and purchase 6 lucky items and bring them back. Purchase lucky item number 1, the Lucky Horseshoe in Dalaran Plains, at 84.25 for 100 gold from Ferrier Rocha. Purchase lucky item number 2, the Lucky Tortolan Charm in Dornagal, at 62.50 for 50 gold from Grifta. Also from Grifta, purchase lucky item number 3, the Lucky Dragon's Claw. The next 3 items will require an Alliance character. Place this character in your warband if they're on a different server, and mail these items to your warband character. Purchase the following 3 items from Lenny Fingers McCoy in Stormwind at 28.27. Purchase the Lucky Shirt, the Lucky Charm, and the Lucky Rat's Tooth. You can also buy the old Lucky Coin as a substitute, and it is a bit cheaper. Once you've acquired all 6 of your lucky items, head back to the Feeling Lucky console and enter the code 777 to acquire your 7th piece of hate. If 777 does not work, try 7777. One of these combinations with these lucky 6 items should work. It will not always work on the first try. You have to quote unquote get lucky to win it, but it shouldn't take you that long with these items. The 8th console is right by the vault door in the corner. Above this console is the note "Here." This is a reference to the Dita ear you loot when entering the instance. Head back to where you looted the ear from the North Sea Thug and put on your thinking cap. Walk to this console and you will have the output 115. This is the code. Enter the code 115 to earn your 8th piece of hate. The 9th and final console is in the Mogu tile room with an encrypted puzzle box next to it. In the room behind the table, you will find a note with a password 466478. This is not the code, but is actually the object ID for what you are trying to find. The way you are meant to solve this is simple. The red and yellow runes will damage you if you touch them, but touching the cloud one will not. Where in the world can you find runes like these? I wonder. Head to the Veil of Eternal Blossoms once again, but this time talk to Zadormi and go back to the past version without the N'Zoth presence. Once again, Zadormi is located atop Mogashan Palace at 8029. Head over to the Gul-Lao Hall's entrance at coordinates 2226. When you enter down the pathway, go left towards the back until you cannot go further. You need to deactivate the spirit walls to remove the barriers that prevent you from going further. Follow along the rune that is safe to the last spirit wall and walk up the stairs. In front of you, you will notice the same object that your Torch of Pyrith interacts with in the red button room. This, along with the Mogu Cloud rune, was the hint where you needed to go. To the left of the stairs near one of the treasure chests is the note. Put your goggles on and the note will appear with our code. Head back to the Karazhan Catacombs. Enter the code 17112317 on the console to loot your final piece of hate and complete orb number 3. The next orb is based around the numbered notes that we revealed when looting the goggles. There are numerous numbered notes around the catacombs. Some even appear without the goggles. To solve what these numbers mean, you will need to take a note of every number in the instance. I will show you all the locations on a map for you. What do we need to do with these numbers? When you read the Torn Journal entry in the Mogu tile room, Rats mentions how many years since that fateful day. She is referring to the birth of WoW, which was 11/23/2004. She also mentions solving mysteries hidden in plain sight. This is referencing to the notes that you can see only with the goggles. To solve this, you need to use the following math equation. In parentheses C times 301 modulo 2004, where C is the note number and the modifier is the year. C times 301 is the inverse for C times 11 times 23. 11 and 23 is the month and date for the WoW launch. I use Symbolab for this. Do this for each number and you get a value. For instance, the number 7 gives you 103 in the ASCII table, which gives you the letter G. Do this for each number to get the following letter you need. 80, for example, converts to 32 ASCII, which is space. So that means we have 4 spaces, because there's 480 letters. Once you get them all together, it anagrams to the following. Bring doom to Light's tomb. Uther's tomb, to be exact. Head to Azuna to Vashti the Wandering Merchant and purchase a scroll of Fellbinding for 500 gold. She patrols the path between Fellblaze Ingress flight path and through the ruined sanctum. Use /tar Vashti to find her faster. Once you have your scroll of Fellbinding, head to the Western Plaguelands to Uther's tomb at coordinates 5282. Walk to the tomb entrance and use the item. This will kill the closest creature, which is you, so be prepared to die. Upon death, a Doom Guard will spawn. Do not kill it, but walk inside the tomb and you will see graffiti. Clicking each rune will give you the clues toward the next orb, but it is not required to complete the step. Summoning the Doom Guard is all that you need to do to complete this. To make sure that you have completed this step, run the following script. If it comes back true, you have completed orb number 4. It is very important that you check this, because if you do the next step and you have not completed it, you will have wasted a lot of time. When you read the runes for Uther's tomb, it states, "You think yourself so clever, I bet. You adventurers are all the same. Let's see you beat the Master of Secrets at our own twisted game." This is a reference to Blizzard developer Jeremy Feasel, also known as Muffinus. He was the creator of many past secret pets and mounts. The in-game clue to his whereabouts is by defeating the rare spawn in Argus called Feasel the Muffin Thief. He will drop a timeless coin which tells you need to head to the Timeless Isle. A quick search on Wowhead will show you that Jeremy Feasel is in the cave, but can only be seen if you do the Zarim event. Also of note, Jeremy Feasel was the creator of Timeless Isle, which makes sense why he'd be there. Before you start the next step, you will need to make sure that you have 3 level 25 pets of any of the following on the list displayed now. The 3 easiest to obtain I recommend are Spyragos, Turkey, and the Wicker Pup. Once you have obtained 3 of these pets, and they are level 25, head to the Timeless Isle. Go to the cave at 4340. Start the Zarim event. Do not loot any chests. This will make it where Zarim doesn't respawn. Dodge the ghostly spirits, or you will fail and have to start over. If Zarim doesn't respawn, it means you looted something. In order to reset this, you will have to go all the way back to the Karazhan Catacombs, and then click on the ghostly brazier at the beginning of the stairwell. So in short, just don't loot anything, or it's a big waste of time. At the back of the cave is Jeremy Feasel. He will challenge you to a pet battle. However, you can't beat him with any pets. Being that Jeremy Feasel is the Master of Secrets, it only makes sense that you battle him with secret pets. As I've already mentioned, the pet battle combo team that I will recommend, as they are the easiest to get, is Spyragos, Turkey, and the Wicker Pup. They must be level 25. Do note that for the Wicker Pup, you need to convert him to being rare, as getting this pet only starts at uncommon. This isn't a guide on how to acquire these pets, and if you find yourself struggling to find the pets to battle with, use the ones that I recommend as they are very easy to get. Spyragos is a small quest line, Turkey is a hidden egg in Borean Tundra, and Wicker Pup is just constructing 4 different items together. Super easy and takes the smallest amount of time. Before starting the battle, make sure all pets have the correct spells. Spyragos in slot number 1 with Flame Breath, Chain Lightning, and Deep Freeze. Turkey should be in slot number 2 with Flank and Stampede. His second spell doesn't matter. Wicker Pup needs to be in the final slot with Shadow Slash, Consume Corpse, and Bark Skin. Start the pet battle and use the following. Use Flame Breath, use Chain Lightning, and then keep Flame Breathing until Judgment dies. If for some reason Spyragos is still alive, you can use Deep Freeze. Bring in Turkey next. Use Flank, and then Stampede until he dies. Wicker Pup then comes in. Use Bark Skin, then use Shadow Slash twice. Consume your corpse. Shadow Slash once, Bark Skin, consume the corpse, and then Shadow Slash until dead. This isn't 100% proof. There is still some RNG to if you win or not, especially because the monkey is a cheating asshole. It's not easy, and it's not supposed to be, but this is the easiest combination to get, and it will eventually net you a success. If you defeat Jeremy Feasel with at least 1 pet alive, he will populate the quest Master of Secrets to award you the Golden Muffin and completing orb number 5. Now that you have 9 pieces of hate and a Golden Muffin, where do you take them? If you read the tooltip of the piece of hate, it gives you a clue. The face of the coin depicts a goblin skull, so now we know it's goblin related. The next clue you can find is talking to Dakash Grimledger and the Roasted Ram Inn in Valdrakken. If you ask to trade the pieces of hate in, he tells you they are pointless. A quick Wowhead search will tell you that there's an NPC called Krend the Pointless. You do not have to go see him, but it is a reference to Krendor, a World of Warcraft YouTuber who has a pointless top 10 series, which features always in the beginning a shot of the giant goblin statue at Gennaro Point and Booty Bay. Combine these clues, and we now know where to turn them in. Head to Booty Bay and fly to the giant goblin statue at Gennaro's Point. Hidden behind inside is a pointless treasure salesman who will trade your 9 pieces of hate and a golden muffin for the Relic of Crystal Connection, which is used in the steps to follow. Once you acquire the Crystal Connections item, you can now enter a new room. Target the humming crystal and use the item. There are several books in here to read, and many books you can hover over. The books themselves don't mean anything, but only one of them is an actual clue on where to go next, and that's the Zul'Gurub and Altar of Acquisitions book. Head to the uninstanced version of Zul'Gurub at 7743, where you will find 5 altars. To complete this step, you need to make offerings to each spirit. How it was solved was just by trial and error, and testing different things. Sin items for sin, greed for greed, etc. For each altar, you will need to have a certain combination of pets, toys, mounts, etc. out to complete it. This step is actually frustrating if you're doing it alone, as it requires an insurmountable amount of collected toys, pets, transmogs, and mounts. Fortunately, if anyone else is around you that has the items, it will count as well. So you can have others who are on this to help you, or bring a friend if you don't have all of these items. While you are making your offerings to these altars, make sure you have your Torch of Pyrith out to get credit. Once you get the message the spirit departs and is satisfied with your acquisitions, you can move on to the next. Here are the items needed for each altar. For Sin, you will need a Sin Heart pet, which is earned at level 27 Renowned Venthyr. You will need a bondable Sinstone toy, which is a treasure looted in Revendreth. And you will need any Sinstone cosmetic for your back. The quickest one to get is 3500 anima with the Venthyr Covenant. For Corrupt, you will need any mount with Corrupt in the name. I used the Corrupted Firehawk, as it's pretty easy to get. You will need any pet that has the word Corrupt in its name. You will need either toy the Ring of Broken Promises, which is earned from the Darkmoon Fair, or if the Darkmoon Fair isn't up, you can also use the Accursed Tome of the Sargerai. You will also need any cloak transmogged to the Cloak of Overwhelming Corruption. This drops from the first boss in the Terrace of the Endless Spring on any difficulty. For Temptation, you will need to summon the Sister of Temptation pet, which drops from Mother Shiraz and Black Temple, or you can buy it on the auction house. You will also need the toy Moreau's Family Polish, which is a Garrison Dungeon quest reward, or if you don't have it, you can just simply remove all of your gear and get naked. You will also need any steamy romance novel in your bags. It doesn't matter which one, you just gotta go buy it on the auction house if you don't have one. For the Blood Altar, you're gonna need any mount with blood in its name, you will need any pet with blood in its name, and you will need the Throbbing Blood Orb toy, which is a Tanan jungle treasure. And finally for Void, you will need the Lesser Void Caller pet, which is a drop from High Astromancer Solarian in Tempest Keep, or you can buy it on the auction house. You need the Void Totem toy, which is a Shadow Moon Burial Ground dungeon quest. And finally, you need to transmog your cloak to Cloak of the Black Void, which is a BOE tailoring item that you can buy on the auction house. If you're unsure if you've completed each altar, use the following script on screen. If they all say true, it means you've done it correctly. If any say false, you need to go back and retry. After you complete all 5, you can then loot the chest to obtain Ancient Shaman Blood and complete Orb number 6. Before you can continue to Orb number 7, you will need to purchase a fledgling Warden Owl from the auction house, or from the vendor at the Warden's Redoubt flight path in Asuna. You must be revered to purchase it from them, otherwise buy it from the auction house. Inside the Kara Catacombs, Rats has a book describing many parts of this puzzle. The goal is to have all statues submerged in the floor. This is a 5x5 lights out puzzle variant, with the added complication that the 4 linked statues aren't adjacent to each other. Each statue is linked with 4 others, and clicking on one statue will cause the linked statues to sink or rise. Find the correct pattern to hide them all. Resetting the puzzle will scramble the links. The puzzle itself inside Vault of the Wardens is pretty difficult to figure out on your own without the help of an add-on or a website. Head to the Isle of the Watchers in Azuna. If you haven't done so already, make sure you purchase your fledgling Warden Owl from the Quartermaster here if you're revered. Otherwise, hit up the auction house. Summon your owl. You will need to visit the different owl statues on this island, which is displayed on the screen now. Clicking on them activates a random color and buff. The owls have an internal cooldown, so if it doesn't let you, just try different owls or wait. You will need to keep your pet owl out around all 4 colors, red, blue, purple, and green. Your owl will spin in circles once it reacts long enough, and you'll get a magnifying glass indicating you've got it. Once you got all 4 colors, you should get a small floating orb over your pet's head. This is how you know you've done this part correctly. Do note that the order of the colors you get does not matter as long as you got all 4 of them. Once you have successfully gotten all 4 colors and empowered your owl, head inside the vault of the Warden's dungeon. The difficulty does not matter. Clear the dungeon all the way to the end. After you defeat Gordana, keep the orb on her platform and make your way back up to the top. You are looking for a door that has opened just before the first boss, at the coordinates 2177. Enter this room with the orb from Gordana's fight, and the fledgling owl you empowered summoned to your side. This will spawn a small owl statue in the room. Click it to loot the sentry statue. You will now take it to the Glazer boss room to begin the most time-consuming and annoying puzzle of this secret. Place the statue in the area before going down the stairs into Glazer's encounter. Doing so will spawn owl statues. At this point, you will need to download the add-on Statue Helper to continue. Trust me, this is time-consuming, but without it you'd be in here for hours. Just a heads up, if you don't want to use the in-game add-on, you can also use a website. To be honest, my add-on actually failed me at the end of writing this segment, so I had to use the website anyway. The website that you can use is ham.io/watcher-solver. I have that on the screen for you right now. Having said that, I will continue to explain this step using the in-game add-on. Once Statue Helper is installed, click on the sentry and begin the startup sequence. Type /SS to bring up the add-on. Move it to where you desire. You can decide how you want the grid to line up, but I just chose north to south for mine. So 1 would be at the top left, and 25 would be at the bottom right. You now need to go to each owl statue location and click on it. You then need to make note of which ones move. It always will move 4 statues, and each number on the grid you click will always move the same statue. If the statue isn't up, you just need to click on other owls. It doesn't matter which, until you get it to come up. You will now need to go from 1 all the way to 25, and click each statue and make note of what owl statues change for that particular number. For the add-on, the way you do this is very simple. On the screen, you can see I'm at owl statue number 21, and it is up. So right-click on that, and it will pop up a second grid with the number colored in yellow. This is where you will put your confirmations in on which statues changed. Click the owl and make note. I noticed 24 went down and 25 came up, but I didn't notice what the other 2 were. But you don't have to reset here. Just go click on one of the statues that you know changed, and it should pop back up the previous statue you were working on. In this case, I will go click 25, and now I just click 21 again, and repeat until I am absolutely sure what other 4 statues went up or down, then input them on the right grid by left clicking and they will turn red. So I know 24 and 25 are 2 of them. Now I just need to look for the other 2 that moved. It was number 14 and number 3. If you want to be 100% sure, just redo it one more time. I double checked, and now I'm absolutely sure that number 21 will cause 24, 25, 3, and 14 to move up or down. Once you are sure which one's changed for your statue, hit the confirm button to lock it in on the statue solver grid. Now that you've confirmed 21, you will see that it has a red box around it. You will then need to do this for every single tile until all 25 are confirmed. It's time consuming, but trust me, without it, you'd be in here for hours. Once you have input all 25 numbers and are absolutely sure these are the ones that moved, you will click on all the statues that are currently up on the left grid. Then you will click Solve. The add-on will then tell you which statues to click and in what order. Unfortunately, as I mentioned already, the add-on did not work correctly for me, but that's okay. If yours doesn't work also, just pop open the website ham.io/watcher-solver. It's still useful to use the add-on as it does track your progress, and it will help you in inputting the correct places on the website. The website will then ask you to enter the current statue grid. My grid looks like this. Click Next. It will then tell you to click In-Game, but we've already done this. Just click it on the website and then use the website to input your findings from the add-on. In my case, number 3 gave me 1, 10, 21, 22, so I enter it in and click Next. You do this until all 25 are entered in. Once you get to 100% on the screen, you will then be told to enter the statues up on your screen, and then click Next to be told which statues to click and in what order, and then the puzzle will be solved. If you did this correctly, a chest will spawn in front of the sentry statue that you placed, and you can loot your warden's mirror. The website is just a backup in case the add-on fails. And that is orb number 7 complete. Head back to the Karazhan Catacombs. While we initially brute forced the solution to solve this, it was discovered after how the puzzle actually works. To solve this, you first need to understand how the pedestals are numbered. The Enigma machine is the center of a clock. You then go clockwise with a line to the machine. This numbers the pedestals from 1 to 7, as seen here on the screen. To understand what statue to bring to which pedestal, you need to count the rats and follow this formula. X equals the number of rats times the current lock you are on with a modifier of 20. 20 comes from the out of order note. You will then take X and mod it by 7. This number gives you the correct plate. To get the correct number of statues, you will then need to take whatever X was and divide it by 7 and round up. So for example, you're on lock number 3 and you've counted 9 rats. Therefore you do 9 times 3 with the modifier of 20 using the same website I did earlier, symbolab.com. This gives us the value of 7. You then need to take the value of X, which was 7, and then you need to modify it by 7. In this case, it still gives us the value of 7. We now know the solution is on plate 7. Now you will take 7 divided by 7, and you will get 1. The solution for this step would be 1 statue on plate 7. That's how you actually do the puzzle if you want to do the math. Otherwise, you can just follow what's on the screen and just read the solution. You will need to first go to the Enigma machine console up the stairway and deposit the 2 items that you got from orbs number 6 and number 7. This will give the machine power. Click on the machine and you will see there are 3 locked mechanisms. Initially this was 7, but it got nerfed, so it's much faster to do now. Pull the begin lever. This will reset the mechanisms. Now pull the submit lever, but only once. This now releases regular rats in your instance. If you want to solve this on your own, please go back to orb number 8 explained in the timestamps. Otherwise, just follow the solution guide I put up on the screen as we go. You need to now count all the critters in the instance with the name rat. Before you start counting, go into your options and click critters and companions on. It is very important that you kill the catacomb rats as you go. The reason for this is they can walk over the pedestals while you're submitting your answer and cause you to fail. Now, as you go, you need to kill the rats and count them, but do not count the catacomb rats. Only count the normal rats. The reason that you need to kill the normal rats is because when you submit your answer, if any rats are still up, they won't despawn for your new count of rats, causing you to mess it up. So you just kill everything as you go and make sure you count the rats correctly, but once again, do not count the catacomb rats. Count each rat and kill them as you go. Make sure you check all of the rooms. The only place that the rat will not show up is the Mogu tile room and the area up the stairwell. Everywhere else they can show up. Use a /tar macro just to be sure. /tar rat. Once you have counted all your rats, you can either use the Orb 8 explanation timestamp to figure it out yourself, or just use the on-screen chart for where to take each statue and how many to take. For this lock, I counted 2. I typed it in chat in case I forget. Looking at the grid, I can see that I need 1 statue on plate number 2. So click and drag one of the 5 statues, whichever is nearest to the pedestal. Once you are sure you have the correct answer, go back to the Enigma machine and click Submit. If you did this correct, you will get a magnifying glass and your rat count will now reset. Do not click Begin or Submit again. Just go straight to counting your next set of rats. If you've failed at this point, zone out and reset the instance and start from the beginning again. So now I'm on lock number 2, and I go counting rats and killing as I go again. I counted 3 rats this time, so that's 1 statue on pedestal 6. Make sure you remove the previous statues first before submitting your answer. Now I'm on the final lock number 3. Go count the rats again, killing as you go. I counted 3 rats once again. This time, that's 2 statues on pedestal number 2. Make sure to remove the previous statue once again and click Submit. And that's it. You have now completed orb number 8. This orb was by far the hardest to solve, mainly because initially until a hotfix, there wasn't much feedback given on if you're doing something right or not. When you read the cryptic plaque above, you will see the message, "To be like me, you'll need to know. The missing rhyme, the crystals glow. The stars above, the space below. The time of now for long ago. My secret notes you'll never see unless you learn to work as 3. And then it has the letters J, Y, P, F, F, Q, V, Y. This plaque has actually always been there since you started, but now above it are objects that give you an even bigger hint. These were not there initially, and were actually hotfixed a few weeks after the secret finding Discord could not figure out the solution. The items that are relevant to this solution also now sparkle after the hotfix, which include all of the journals previously found from rats, a birthday cake on an hourglass, and the final chapter itself that you can see inside the vault room. This chapter reads, "In catacombs with dusty pages, as paladins or rogues or mages, through all the wars that never cease, in search of hope, in search of peace, for all the journeys and any weather, for adventures yet to come together. The final key is why I stay, for you, for Azeroth." When reading it out loud, you may feel like the rhyme falls off at the end. This is intentional. More on that later. When you use the torch, it reacts to the maelstrom-like object in the middle. This object only exists one place in the game, and it's in an area in Darkshore called Nashvel. In this small area are several Naga that when killed will drop some interesting gray items. These were meant to be clues to help you understand what you need to do to solve this final step, but these were also hotfixed in. The sand shift relic drop is just telling you that you need to shift something. For our solution, this is the alphabet itself. More on that later. Both indecipherable objects is just a reference to the Viginaire cipher, as it is known as the indecipherable cipher. Finally, if you go visit the dungeon Eye of Ashara, in the far corner there is an upside down chip. When you enter it and look up, you will see the word Vig spelled out in stars. 24 stars to be exact. This is likely a reference to the word Vigintennial, which means 20 years, and being that there are 24 stars, it's clearly a reference to our current year, 2024, and the anniversary date, which is 11/23/2024. This is the answer to one of our cryptic plaque entries, the time of now for long ago. Now let's figure out the rest. What is the missing rhyme? If you read the final chapter, you will notice that it ends without a rhyme for stay. It's odd, and it definitely is missing a rhyme. If you read some of the other journal entries from rats, you will in fact find the missing rhyme. In her 92 to 93 journal, she mentions it's all about the endless hunt, the love of play. She says this again in page 115. She says, "I'll show them how much I love to play." This is the missing rhyme. The final key is why I stay, for the love of play. Now let's analyze the cryptic plaque once more. If you notice the objects above the plaque, the journal itself is backwards. This is intentional. You are meant to read the plaque backwards. So we have the letters J, Y, P, F, F, Q, V, Y. We know we need to do something with that. The next 2 lines are referencing the Orb 5 secret and do not pertain to this solution. Now we have the time of now for long ago, which we know now is 1123-2024. We now have the two keys we need, so let's solve what JYPFFQVY really is. To solve this, we need to analyze one final clue in the Catacombs. If you head to the Mogu tile room, you will notice another book that can't be read, but it is glowing. This is the hidden Zeroth letter of the alphabet. This is a very important clue. It is telling you that there is a hidden letter missing from the alphabet. Usually this is referring to A equals 0, and thus only having a 0 to 25 letter alphabet instead of 1 to 26. However, this is not the case. In every journal, all the letters of JYPFFQVY exist in the journals except for Q. This is another clue. In other languages of this plaque, there is a special character instead. That is the answer. We need to use a 27-letter alphabet with an extra character. It doesn't matter what character, there just needs to be one. So now we know the time of now for long ago, the missing rhyme, and the hidden Zeroth. Let's solve the puzzle. You can choose to either do it by counting yourself on paper or by simple math. I will show you the math way of solving this. We take our initial JYPFFQVY letters and convert them to numbers. Until we do the final calculation, we will not be using a 27-letter alphabet. We'll be using a normal A to Z alphabet, where A equals 1. So the first thing we do is shift the numbers we got, 10, 25, 16, 6, 6, 17, 22, 25, backwards by the anniversary date of 1123-2024. This will give us 9, 24, 14, 3, 4, 17, 20, and 21. Now we need to shift it again using our missing rhyme, for the love of play. You might be asking, why did we add the word for to the missing rhyme? She doesn't say that in any of the journals. But actually, she does. That's why the final chapter ends in for you and for Azeroth. It's telling you for is part of the missing rhyme, and we found the rest in the journal. For the love of play will not fit, however, so we need to just carry the remaining letters forward and shift it twice. So the first part, FORTHELO, gives us the numbers 6, 15, 18, 20, 8, 5, 12, and 15. Now we just subtract from our previous numbers to get 3, 9, -4, -17, -4, 12, 8, and 6. Now we take the rest of the missing rhyme, VEOFPLAY, which gives us the numbers 22, 5, 15, 6, 16, 12, 1, and 25. Subtract it from our final previous numbers, and you get -19, 4, -19, -23, -20, 0, 7, -19. This is our final calculation of shifting the numbers. Now all we need to do to get the final number is perform a modulo operation of 27, because the final answer is based on a 27-letter alphabet. And when you convert these numbers, you get 8, 4, 8, 4, 7, 0, 7, 8. This is our final code. Head to the same cave from where we acquired the Inert gem. This is in Ashkahet at Firen's Advance, and enter the open cave at 5519. The space below, this is the rabbit hole we jumped down to find rats initially. The stars above, this is telling you to equip your starry-eyed goggles and look up. You will then see a platform above that previously wasn't there. The crystal's glow is telling you to use the Relic of Crystal Connections to teleport up there. You will then find a hidden console and the chest. Enter the code 848470778 to unlock the chest and acquire your Felcycle and Feat of Strength achievement. And that's it. Or is it? When you open up your spellbook while riding this mount, it appears you can enter a sequence. There are many unsolved mysteries in the Catacombs, such as the cat room, which has now opened up. Secret finders speculate there is more secrets to discover, as the final orbs on the platform are now glowing purple. The Blizzard dev and creator of this secret, Josh, stated that there is more to find, but the secret for Rat's Revenge is over for now. Who knows what else we will discover, but until then, enjoy your mount. If this video helped you in any way, please consider leaving a like and clicking on subscribe. It helps promote the video to others and helps my channel grow. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'll see you in the next one.